The Utah Hockey Club's inaugural regular season has come to a close. A disappointing loss to the St. Louis Blues. Robyn and I are going to talk about this game and look ahead for the franchise on today's Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast.
You are Locked On Utah Hockey Club, your daily podcast on the Utah Hockey Club, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast. I'm veteran NHL voice Tom Callahan, joined by longtime team analyst Robyn Leaño, and we are the dynamic duo that brings you the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast each and every single day. Thanks for making us your first listen when it comes to the UHC. Well, the regular season finale against St. Louis, we're going to talk about it. Disappointing, to say the least, a big 6-1 loss. Utah was never really in it. Then we're going to look ahead in this one. And plus, we're going to talk about Roadrunners coverage as they work their way into the Calder Cup playoffs. There is plenty for us to talk about. But Robyn, looking back at this game tonight, game number 82, we built it up in the pregame. You know, they were coming off that big win at Nashville, and then they came out absolutely flat and just never seemed to be in that game from the get-go.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like the team just was checked out. I don't know if they partied too much in Nashville the night before or what, but they just looked checked out. I mean, it looked like they felt like Nashville was the last game of the regular season to them, and they were just there. They just had to show up to this game, to this last one. I don't know what it was. It just looked like they weren't in it, and not to mention when they did get as far back, they just looked flat out frustrated. They were just annoyed, and it just made things look even worse.
And as we go through some of the stats, that's going to bear itself out here. We're going to talk about it. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Robyn, looking at the scoring here in this one, it was all St. Louis in the first. 2 even strength, 2 power play goals. Shen, Buchnevich, Snuggerud, by the way, first NHL goal. Congratulations. And Bolduc. And it's 4-0 before you even get out of there. I've never seen Andre Tourigny leave the bench so fast after 20 minutes of play. Clearly, he was upset. His team was outshot 12-5. They didn't get it going. They were shorthanded. St. Louis finishes 3 for 7 on the power play in this game. And it was, Utah got to 4-1 on Clayton Keller's goal, but then Kyrou nets a pair, and that's all she wrote. 3 power play goals for St. Louis. Special teams did not look good. Just a rough way to end the year. I think it's a disappointing game, and I hope the Utah fans aren't stuck with this as their enduring image of the season, because this was one of their biggest clunkers of the year.
Yeah, that's kind of, unfortunately, Tom, it is one of the things that I think will stick with people. Because a lot of people will have memories of what happened in the last game. It tends to be happens all right, what happened last? Oh yeah, that's how the season finished.
Yeah, let's think about the Nashville game. That was much better.
Let's just pretend it didn't exist. This game didn't exist, right? It's just like, yeah, you know about Nashville game. Great way to end the season.
I put it out there on Blue Sky earlier. I said, are there 82 games in an NHL season? I'm asking for a friend. Yeah, turns out there are. Let's take a quick look at the stats from the rest of this one. Shots on goal by the end of the game weren't bad. Utah started to claw their way back in, but still 29-23 for St. Louis. The power plays, again, 3 for 7 for St. Louis. 1 for 4 for Utah. Faceoffs are pretty much even, 31-29 for St. Louis. A lot of giveaways for Utah in this game. A lot of giveaways. Robyn, that was shades of earlier in the season when this team was struggling, giving up the puck at what seemed always to be the worst time. It almost felt like they regressed a little bit in this last game. And I know they were tired. I know it was back-to-back with travel, blah, 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 end of a 3-game road swing. We can throw all the excuses out there we want. It still happened. They still had to play it, and it just didn't look good.
It didn't look good. And I think that's and again, I think there is a level of disappointment, especially where as much as you and I kind of did hype it up, right? I think there was a lot of going on, a lot going on in this, in this game. But what I will say, Tom, is that let's also be a little bit real here. I mean, we kind of already knew St. Louis was a hotter team. I mean, they did kind of cool down a little bit, during a very small stretch there, because they lost a few after that, however many games they won straight. But at the end of the day, we talked about it, right? We said, hey, Utah has a chance to play spoiler here, give them, and then to beat them. And as long as the other game goes the way we hoped it would, and it would have been, St. Louis doesn't make the playoffs after all. Maybe if you just want to give St. Louis some credit, they knew that, right? They knew, like, we don't want spoiler to happen here. Let's put our foot down, make sure we get into the playoff.
Yeah, and this is the last couple games for teams wrapping it up now. Several teams now are at the 82 game mark, and a bunch of others will be joining them here down the stretch. And by the way, not only St. Louis wins when it needed to win tonight, but also the Minnesota Wild won in overtime against Anaheim. So, those two teams are in, and that's it. So those are your 8 playoff teams now. You've got Winnipeg, Dallas, Colorado, Vegas, LA, Edmonton. That LA Edmonton series is going to be epic. I can't wait. And then Minnesota and St. Louis. So that's, the way it fell this year. I think, Robyn, we knew that. It was, let's say, likely a couple of weeks ago, but you like to think, hey, as long as there's no E next to your name, you do still have a chance if everything breaks the right way. It just wasn't there for Utah this year. And I mean, that's okay. They end up finishing or ostensibly will finish, it looks like 10th overall in the conference, or 11th, pardon me, actually. Sorry, it'll be 11th. But 89 points. They don't get to 90 this year. I know we were rooting for 90 points, but 89 is still a significant improvement.
You know who did get to 90 points, though?
Yes, good segue.
Our boy Clayton Keller. He did get the lone goal for Utah. Got himself to that 90-point threshold, which is just so nice to see.
It's a nice round number, and it's a big number.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big boy number right there. That's a huge year, and I think Utah still, for all the fanfare, flew a little bit under the radar this year as a team. That's why I think Dylan Guenther still catches teams by surprise. It's why I still think Clayton Keller is unheralded. How does a 90-point guy get left off of 4 Nations? And I'm going to beat that drum until we do this again. But, I don't understand those things. There's a lot of other questions I have coming out of the season. Some of them will be answered in the offseason, but one of the answers I got this year was from Clayton Keller. Was he going to continue to improve? He has continued to grow his game. I am very encouraged by what we saw from him this season.
Oh, absolutely, no doubt. And definitely making a name for himself enough to maybe make it in the Team USA roster for Milano Cortino, Winter Olympics 2026.
There you go. Winter Olympics 26. That's perfect, Robyn. I love it. We are going to hear from head coach Andre Tourigny a little bit later here in the show. Want to get his post-game reaction and thoughts to you. Last game of the year, I'm sure he's going to have a lot to say and a lot of reflecting to do. And we do know locker room cleanout day is going to be on Thursday for the Utah Hockey Club. So we also have that to look forward to as well. But Robyn and I, we're going to talk a little bit about what we're looking ahead to. Plus, we're going to talk about the Tucson Roadrunners again and what's going on in the American Hockey League with them, because our coverage of the Calder Cup playoffs will be there as well. So, hey, you want to know what the baby Utahns are doing? We're going to tell you about it. So, all right, stick around. We're going to talk about what's up next for this Utah Hockey Club. And today's show is brought to you in part by Monarch Money. You ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Well, between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it is pretty easy to lose track. And that's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, your investments, and spending in one place. So you stop just managing your money and you start building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, you track your spending, and even plan your long-term goals. I love that it gives me a complete look at my financial setup in one place. I don't have to chase through, a bunch of different apps to, oh, what is this card doing? Or my 401k or what is it? It's all right there with Monarch. And I really like that. It's easy collaboration too, because you can manage money with your partner. It's smoother than ever. You can track shared personal accounts, set goals, and it helps you stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use our code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com. Go to the website, monarchmoney.com, for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year. All right, back here in the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast, Tom Callahan, Robyn Leaño. Please subscribe if you haven't already. We appreciate you being here. And if this is your first time checking out the show, thank you so much for giving us a listen. And if you're one of the everydayers or one of the longtime listeners / viewers of the program, thank you. Welcome back. Robyn is creeping up on approximately 62,000 shows, I think, at this point. So, Robyn, I know you've got some milestones coming up here, don't you? I don't know exactly what they are, but they'll be.
I think coming up this summer will be 750 shows for me.
That's exciting. That is so cool. What a fantastic number.
I know. Honestly, yeah. I saw it, Tom, and I'm like, oh, there's no way. There's no way it's been that long.
Yeah. What are we going to do to celebrate? We're going to have to figure that one out.
I know. If you guys have any ideas what we should do on the show, let us know.
Yeah. Tell us in the comments. How do you think Robyn should celebrate 750 shows? That's incredible. So absolutely deserves to be commemorated in some way. So I'll tell you what, we've got head coach Andre Tourigny ready to go. So want to get to his post-game reaction. We'll get his thoughts in there. Then Robyn and I are going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit more about what we're looking forward to.
Not much to say about that game. I think our special team were not, didn't make the difference. And I don't think we play really good. I think Veggie, we let Veggie by himself a little bit, and it's unfortunate because I think we had a really good, strong end of the season and a really good trip. But the other thing I will say, I will give them credit. I think they had 4 days to get ready for that game. They knew that was the game to get in the playoff on their side. They were well prepared, and us, no excuses, but we were not as prepared for them than they were. We were just played 3 games in 4, playing a back-to-back, while them, they were off for 4 days preparing for us. So give them credit, and on our side, I would have loved to finish on a different note, but I think our guys, they fought hard all season long. They showed a lot of pride. I have a ton of respect for the way they showed up in the second half.
What was the message in the room? Obviously this game felt bigger than just tonight's game, obviously, because of the inaugural season, but, a lot to be happy for. And
after the game, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't talk about the game. The game, it's over. It's done. We won't let that game be the reflect of our season. We have I don't know how many points of improvement, but like before the game, we were the 7th best team since the Four Nation. I think we were the 2nd youngest team in the league. We showed up in big moment. We improved. We improved a ton of stuff, which we will do a debriefing at the right time. But I won't let that game. Okay, we're not happy about that game, but that's not the reflect of our season. There's 81 other game, and we were a lot of those games we were on the right side of it. And even if you remember in January, when the victory were not coming as regularly than we wanted. I said it a lot of time. We're proud of the way we played, and the guys were fighting and they were playing well, and it was a matter of time, and it did improve. And like I said, we had a really strong finish. It's just unfortunate it's today. I don't want that to be the reflect of all the improvement those guys fought, and I think really proud of our player, their attitude, their commitment all season long. I won't let that game put a shadow on our season.
Ian Cole said even with that the first period was kind of indicative of a lot of the struggles you guys had throughout the season when you weren't playing well. How do you feel about that?
I agree with that. I think it's highlight a little bit our age. I highlight our little stuff we need to get better. In one side, it's tough to say right now. Maybe that's the best thing could happen to us because that, like Colsey said, that highlight the work we have to do. There a ton of improvement, a ton of commitment from our player to get better every day throughout the season. Really proud of them. But having that said, we're not where we want to be. So that highlight the stuff we have to work on, and we'll get better. Those guys are so committed. There's no doubt.
Blues came out to shake Robert Bertuzzi's hand after the game. What do you think that says about the team?
That says about our team, how much we love Bert. I think he's a hell of a pro. He's an unbelievable human and unbelievable player. Had a long career, and it was good for us to have him on our side during the season.
All right, that's head coach Andre Tourigny. Robyn, obviously pretty emotional at the end of a roller coaster season, and it's not over yet. I mean, the work is just beginning. The build is just beginning. They're going to try to get bigger, stronger, better, faster, more economical. Doesn't mean cheaper, but more economical, and spend the money in the right places. I think they've done a lot of those things. And just we're going to look back at the season. It will be something special because there were a lot of players who were storylines for good and bad reasons during the year. I mean, we'll talk about the defense. That was a major storyline all year, and then the goaltending became its own storyline. And there's just a lot for us to recap here. And I mean, we're looking forward to doing that over the course of the summer as well. But I think even sharing our favorite moments from the year, all these are things that are going to be a lot of fun to talk about and just see where this franchise is going, because I feel like it's going up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I feel like when we break down all these other stories, and when we go through all of that, a lot of you guys will probably have your we'll share your moments too, and we'll go through all that. We'll share some of those too, right? You send some to us, we'll share some of our best comments on the show. We'll do all that. But I mean, you're right, Tom. I think there is, a lot of there definitely is a lot of emotions going through the end of this season, seeing where Utah's at, where they could be, and they will be next year, right? We take a look at how much this team has improved over the last couple of years, using the last couple of years of the Arizona Coyotes as kind of like a crutch. Again, it's technically a quote new team, but same team, really. But what it looks like is, a lot of there are some cap clean slates getting ready to come right in, and Utah's going to spend some money. We'll definitely talk about that.
We will. The cap is going to be a big story going into the summer, the draft, free agency, trying to get prospect updates. Some guys had great seasons. Others were disappointing. Plus, talking about prospects, Robyn and I are going to talk about Tucson, and we're going to talk about our Roadrunners coverage here in just a moment. But before we get over to that, Robyn, I do want to tell our listeners and our viewers that, we're planning on doing, maybe some polls, or again, your topics and your comments. If you want to reach out to us on, say, hey, this moment stood out to me, here's why. I'd love to, maybe we will do a fan vote. Maybe we could even do a bracket, like an elimination challenge of your favorite moments throughout the year. That would be cool.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, that would be fun to do over the course of the summer. Then we whittle our way down to see what is the fan voted moment of the Utah Hockey Club's inaugural season. I think that would be a lot of fun. So Archie's my number one.
Yeah, let's see. And let's see how many moments we can get onto a bracket. Are we going to do like a full March Madness-esque field of 64?
We could. I'm sure we could. Like, there's a lot of things that we could figure out. So it's just a matter of
I'll be happy
it down.
I'll be happy with a Sweet 16.
Okay. I'm pretty sure I can come up with more than 16. Maybe we can get to 32. We'll see.
Try. We'll see what we can do.
But hey, throw it in the comments. Let us know what you think and what your moments might be. That way we could kind of build the bracket. We'll start it. All right, we're going to do that this summer. Absolutely, we're going to do that. That'll
It's
be
done.
fun.
It's
Absolutely
done. Locked
done.
in.
Boom, gavel it. All right. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about that Roadrunners coverage. So stay tuned. More coming your way in the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast.
And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are almost here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. I absolutely love how FanDuel makes betting so easy. It's my place that I tend to go when I show you guys all the different odds for certain games, where I put all my picks, where I place my same game parlays from a lot of different aspects. We're talking some, NBA action here for FanDuel, from 3-pointers, steals, assists. FanDuel has so many ways to bet on your favorite player props. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets into a same game parlay for your chance to win big. So don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today.
Tom Callahan, Robyn Leaño, the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast. Thank you so much for being a part of the show all season long. Robyn, it's been an up and down year for the club up top. It's also been a wildly swinging year for the Tucson Roadrunners because they at times have lost key roster players up to Utah on recall, especially with all the defensive injuries that happened this year. Yet somehow, despite it all, Tucson is still sitting on the cusp of making the Calder Cup playoffs here. And hey, if you get in, if any team gets in and gets hot at the right time, you can go on a run.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the Calder Cup playoffs are one of my favorite times. I love
I love the American Hockey League. I love it. It's so much fun.
I mean, maybe some of you might think Tom and I are a little biased since, that's we spent a decent amount of time down there. I spent trying to think how many years I did cover the Tucson Roadrunners as a full-time reporter down there. Tom, I think I put up six years down there, almost 7 years down there. Incredible amount of time. But I loved it. I loved every moment of it, and I loved it any time the Roadrunners went to the playoffs. Really fun time. Seeing the whiteout, always a good time.
It was fun for me to be a part of building it. That was the cool thing, was to come in the beginning before the team had ever played a game and be part of building that franchise, putting that logo, the colors, getting the brand out there, all the various things that it was fun for me because I was also doing the marketing, which is something I love doing, and doing the marketing, doing the PR, all of that stuff. I love getting out there in front of people. And it was a great time. I look back on it fondly. That first year, you can never replace that first year. And that's why I feel so strongly about this first year for the Utah Hockey Club as well. You're never going to replace that first year. It's a bonding experience that you're not going to replicate.
Tanya, we talked before the break about making a bracket for Utah Hockey Club first season moments. I might even just at some point ask you to build your favorite Tucson Roadrunners moments when you were down there being the play-by-play voice. Because there are some incredible moments.
Yeah, there really were. There were some big-time moments. And, of course, there were also some frustrating and sorrowful and difficult and emotional. And, it was a lot of different things in a couple of seasons. But, yeah, wouldn't trade it. Absolutely. So, but Robyn, let's talk about where Tucson is now. As a matter of fact, so folks, most likely you're hearing this on a Wednesday. The show drops on a Wednesday. And heading into Wednesday, there were no games in the American Hockey League Monday or Tuesday. So if the playoffs started today, Tucson is in the Pacific Division, and they are facing the Abbotsford Canucks. And the Colorado Eagles are currently on pace to get a first-round bye because 7 teams make it in the Pacific, Robyn.
Yep, 7 teams do make it in the Pacific, mainly because of the oddity that there are 3 more teams in the Pacific Division than most of the other ones. 2 more in the Atlantic, so there's 8 teams in the Atlantic Division, 7 in the North and the Central, 10 teams in the Pacific Division. So that's kind of why we see a very awkward bracket here. If you're looking at on YouTube, where you see 5 teams from the North and Central make it in, 6 from the Atlantic, 7 from the Pacific, making all this weird. Again, you can blame the whole Pacific Division playoffs in 2021 because there were no Calder Cup playoffs that year as a reason why it was as crazy as it was, because before the pandemic, Tom, the Calder Cup playoffs were essentially just the blueprint was the exact same as the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yeah. And look at it now. First round, best of 3. Division semifinal, best of 5, best of 5, best of 7. Calder Cup final, of course, best of 7. And there's some classic matchups waiting to happen, though. Rochester-Syracuse, that is a longtime classic matchup. You got the Battle of Pennsylvania, Lehigh Valley, and Wilkes-Barre-Scranton. That's awesome. The Battle in New England between Providence and Springfield. There's actually going to be a lot of cool rivalry series coming up here. But Robyn, with some games going on Wednesday, by the way, Rockford, Chicago right now is the setup in the Central for that best of 3. Whew, look out. But Robyn, the setup right now is that for Wednesday night's AHL action, Colorado, I believe, could clinch their top spot.
Colorado can clinch the top spot on Wednesday, and that is if they get just a single point over Ontario. That could also be coupled by an Abbotsford loss to Bakersfield. Now, if we're the Tucson Roadrunners, Tom, you do not want that second scenario to happen because that keeps Bakersfield in contention. Bakersfield needs to lose to lower Tucson's magic number. Now, Tucson still controls their own destiny, but Tucson's final 2 games are against Colorado, and they're currently the division leader. So it's gonna be a tough weekend for them,
and on the road too.
Exactly.
And if Colorado, here's what you hope if you're a Roadrunners fan. Colorado clinches, takes its foot off the gas, slows it down. They're like, okay, we're in first place. Yay, we'll just relax. And then Tucson can go in and pick up a couple of points and everybody's happy. That's the hope. Okay. Robyn, you don't look convinced.
What would be really interesting though is if Abbotsford just Abbotsford beats Bakersfield in regulation, and let's see what they have coming up, and then they have to beat Coachella Valley and Ontario in regulation. While Tucson sweeps the Colorado Eagles because chaos,
right?
And then Abbotsford moves up to the division champion at the end of the season. Colorado goes down to 2. Then guess what? Tucson gets to play Colorado again.
Hey, if you want to win the Calder Cup, you got to beat everybody at some point. That's just the way it is. So that'd be great playoff experience.
There will be a lot of crazy things, and I mean, no matter what, Tucson's gonna have to go through either of those teams in the first 2 rounds.
Yep. And now a couple of players, I'm sure, will go back down. I know for sure Matt Villalta will go back. And some of the younger guys, and as you mentioned, I mean, if they were on the roster at some point during the season, even if it was a paper transaction, they would be playoff eligible. And we're talking about mostly the younger guys to go back down there and see if they can make a difference and make a run.
We'll have to see. It will be really interesting, Tom, and that will be happening. It could very well be happening by the time everyone is listening to this. Is maybe pay attention to either Roadrunners PR or Utah Hockey Club PR on Twitter, or just take a look at the transaction sheet. You will see, possibly, that I don't know, but it could be a list. It will say, the Utah Hockey Club has reassigned this one player, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or however many players were eligible to get sent down to the Tucson Roadrunners.
Yep, and they will go in a batch, and it'll happen quick. They'll have to get down there and try to get themselves reacclimated and trade in the blue for the brick red once again.
Yeah,
but Robyn, go ahead.
I said I'm gonna do what I can. By the way, to get to those games at the Tucson Convention Center, see if I can. See if I have the energy in me. I've been doing a lot of working lately in addition to playing hockey. So, but I'll make it down there. I'll try.
I'll dip into my limitless bank account and get you a chauffeured limo.
Here we go.
Yeah. That'd be an expensive Uber. Either way, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a lot of fun, and hopefully Tucson does go on a bit of a run here. It'd be nice to see him get out of that first best of 3 round and try to do some damage. So,
I mean, Tucson
you never know.
Tucson has not won a first round since they swept the Barracuda in 2018.
Wow. So they're due.
Yep. And for the last couple of years, I believe, let's see, they lost to Coachella Valley, I want to say, a couple of the times. And then Ontario, like one of the other times. And most recently, losing to the Calgary Wranglers by the hands of Dustin Wolf.
Yeah. Yeah. That guy's okay. He's not too bad. So, well, Robyn, as we put a bow on this regular season finale, we look back, Utah Hockey Club, 6-1 loss to Utah. I know it puts a damper at the end of the regular season, and I think locker cleanout day will be even a little more somber because of it. But I think the thing that I just want to leave people with as we kind of transition towards our off-season mode is that, number one, there's a lot of hope and reasons to be hopeful. But number two, there were some pretty darn good things that came out of this season, and reasons to absolutely love what you saw. Whether you're a first-time hockey fan or a long-time hockey fan with this Utah Hockey Club.
A lot of good flashes, Tom, this season that showed what greatness is in the potential for this team. A, and B, I mean, you just got to look on paper off just points alone. I said it again last season. The Arizona Coyotes finished with 77 points. And this season, the Utah Hockey Club finishes with 89 points. A 12-point improvement year to year is very nice.
Yeah, that's a nice jump. That really is a nice jump. And hopefully next year, boy, if they jump 12 points next year,
they're in the playoffs.
You're way in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be amazing. Get over the 100-point mark. Yes, please. That'd be great. So gives us something to look forward to. Robyn, we've been telling folks to direct their comments at us. Where can they find us on social media?
Yeah, on social media, they can find us on primarily on X at LO_NHL Utah. You can find us also on Blue Sky at Locked On Utah Hockey. You can find me at Robyn_Leaño on X. I'm also on Blue Sky at Robyn Ice Time.
And I'm on Blue Sky at Tom Talks. If you want to reach out, that's the best place to get me. I spend 99% of my time there. There are occasional Formula One postings, so you've been warned. All right, everybody. Well, we appreciate you being a part of everything here. And hey, on to the off season. It's going to be a lot of fun. I know it's not the result we all hope for. We hope for some playoff hockey, but hopefully we'll get some playoff hockey in the American Hockey League. And we're still going to cover what happens in the NHL playoffs as well. So thanks a lot, everybody. For Robyn, I'm Tom. We'll talk to you next time. This has been the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast.